Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So we embarked on the enquiry, investigation into Drg and Drishyam. Actually, before Drg-Drshya Viveka, for some of us, it's all one big thing, whatever it is. It's one unholy mess. Then you start to look at it, look at every aspect of the experience. And then we see that whatever we are experiencing, we can look at it from the standpoint of Drishyam, all that is experienced, all that is seen, all that is heard, all that is smelt, all that is tasted, and so on. And there is Drg, the seen, the seer, which is never changing. So the word that was used for Drg was Sakshi. Sakshi is one, without a second. Everything else, Drishyam, are many. Seen, okay, seen, experienced are many. Sakshi is unchanging. Everything else is changing. Sakshi is ever chittihi, consciousness, not born, not doesn't die, etc. All the things that happen to the body, everything else that we are aware of is born, dies away, and before that there are a lot of changes that happen between birth and death. Modifications, you know, what we call shad-vikara, 6 kinds of modifications. So this Sakshi, that is Satyam, is always other than Drishyam. It can never become a part of Drishyam. You can never see the Sakshi. So everything is illumined in the light of Sakshi. We have already said that Sakshi illumines doesn't mean it's a verb, it's an action that is happening. It is the nature of Sakshi to illumine, and that is chittihi, consciousness. And that chittihi does not need any sadhanam, any means. Sadhanam vina bhasayet. It illumines, right? Even the world as we experience it, it comes alive for us only when you are there. You know, you are already self-existent. And Shankara gives a nice example. In fact, some of you may be familiar with this nana chitra ghatodara sthitā mahadīpa prabhābhāsvaram jnānam yasya tu chakshurādhi-karana-dvāra bahispandate. So there is a deepa, there is a deepa here also, but there is it's like a pot which has 5 holes. And there's only one light inside that pot, you know, the kind of things that may also pass off as a Halloween pumpkin or like a nice Deepavali lamp. One light. But through these 5 chidra, 5 holes, the light streams through and creates some very beautiful patterns. So the capacity of the different sense organs to give jnana, knowledge, how that happens because of this light in the pot. From where the light came, the light was always there, chittihi. And swayam bhati, it shines. Everything else, anubhati, means shines after. So you are conscious, and then all the things that are there in your path, they all shine. In the sense you are aware of some sights and sounds. Like today, there looks like there's a lot of traffic, where I stay. So you will hear lots of honking to indicate their presence. What shall we do now? Lots of honking, So that's how it is. Anubhati. Everything is illumined in the light of chitihi. So consciousness. Now, even our arti, what we chant during arti, no? So, na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam. So, you, Dakshinamurti, or whoever, is a deity, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Because of your self-illumining nature, everything else is illumined. The world is known to me, experienced by me, because I am the nature of jnanam, consciousness, chitihi, and everything comes to light. Okay. Then if that is so, I don't understand the connection. You are saying there are two entities, Drik and Drishya. What is Drishyam? What is seen, experienced? It is anyway inert. If it's inert, it has no problem. And if Drik is Sakshi, Drik is consciousness, that also should not have any problem, because doesn't rise, doesn't die, and it is ever shining, untouched by the qualities of what it shines on. So very much like the sun, So it doesn't discriminate. Oh, there is, I've gone here, in Nairobi. I have gone to the biggest dump, garbage dump. It was a mountain. Actually, I was shocked. So, because, from other countries also, they send all garbage. So I was like, okay, garbage dump, you think, it will be somewhere below, like huge pit. No, it was really like climbing a hill, because, we were trying to meet with some of the rag pickers there. Huge mountain almost. So anyway, this, the sun shines very nicely in Nairobi. It doesn't discriminate, oh my God, there is this big garbage dump. Or in a place like Arshavidya Gurukulam, lot of homas, Dakshinamurti temple, let me shine little more brightly. No, it is the same. So whatever it illumines, it doesn't matter. Its nature is to illumine. So then, chitihi sakshi illumines whatever is in your mind. Okay, good, pleasant, ugly, whatever it is, it just illumines. Then you decide what you want to do with it. Let it stay, bid it goodbye, or you build on it. That's how a lot of our suffering is present. We build a lot on our suffering. I am angry with someone, or as they will say colloquially in Marathi, Atta माझी सटकली. Okay, सटकली means it's got a lovely sound to it. Satakli means now I'm like really pissed off. I'm so angry. Then what? It illumines that. You can decide. But why satakli? Suppose you say, but why did I get angry? I shouldn't have got angry. Actually, I think I'm quite a calm and composed person. This was such a minor issue. It was not any reason for me to overreact. Now we are building reaction to a reaction. This is an art we excel in, and particularly Vedanta students, okay? So it comes with the territory, because you are reflecting, you are examining, why am I behaving the way I'm behaving? Everything you attribute to your own self, little arrogance. So what shall we do? It is arrogance of ignorance. But why I should not have done, I should have done, etc., etc. So what you choose to do with what is illumined is another story, and we'll come to that. But chittihi ever illumines. And so what is, so let us understand a little bit more about the antah-karana or the mind. So we look at verse number 6. Cicchāyā veshato budau bhānam dhīstu dvidhā sthitā ekāhankritir anyā syād antah-karana-rūpinī. The chit, the buddhi, it appears to be luminous, or it's illumined as though, because of cicchāyā. Now this is a word we have to understand. Cicchāyā is reflected consciousness. What does that mean? We will again look at. The buddhi is a medium. You know, like you need a surface for some reflection to happen. So because consciousness is illumining, and in its presence there is the mind, budau, buddhi, in the buddhi. Buddhi is the mind, okay? For now, don't go with intellect. So buddhi. Buddhi is illumined, the mind is illumined. How? Because consciousness reflects in it, and therefore it is called reflected consciousness. Okay, then dvidhā dhīs, this mind is twofold. What are they? The first one, ekāhankritir, ahankara, ahankriti, ahang karma karoti iti ahankara. I do, I am, okay? Ahankara. So the word ego, you will see in the translation, you know, try and replace it with ahankara. We have to understand ahankara. Ego has Freudian and lot of other connotations, so we can get a bit stuck with that word. Ahankara is your self-concept, or rather I notion. So this mind that we have is divided in a twofold manner. One is ahankara, the I notion, and the other is anyā syād, antah-karana-rūpinī. And the second is in the form of karana, instrument. Okay, what is the kind of antah-karana? Very beautiful word. I never stop feeling tired explaining antah-karana. I mean, just the beauty of the language, which indicates the sophistication of thinking. What's your mind? What's the mind? Antah-karana. Antah-karana? Oh, it's an inner instrument. Can it function on its own? No, because it's an instrument, that's why. So karana, instrument, means it requires a karta to wield it. You know, you try, even if you do gymnastics or some yogasana, unless you have some phenomenal siddhi, for the spoon to spring into your mouth, you know, you will need some siddhi for it, okay? Siddhi, spoon is karana. Any instrument that you use, okay? Here the word for the mind is antah-karana. So antah-karana means somebody has to be there to use it. It cannot function on its own. Chittihi illumines this, whatever we are calling this karana. What are the aspects of karana we will see. It's not mentioned here, but then I will add. So this karana, it has three aspects. Why am I saying three? Tattva Bodha says 4, yes, but we have already said ahankara already there. Okay, so when we say mind, you know, the Vedic view, or rather the Vedic vision, is that what we refer to as the mind has three aspects. So one is the, different kinds of desires, feelings. So that is referred to as manas. And then the buddhi is the deciding function, okay? Sankalpa vikalpatmaka. And there is chittam, memory. Okay, so sometimes we use these words interchangeably, but don't get confused with it and don't get too caught up with the words. So now this buddhi, by itself, it is inert, it is jadam. Then, but it becomes conscious. How like that? I'm imagining. I had chole bhature. Okay. Chole bhature is inert. Then it goes in. Then it gets converted into fat, which is saved in very safe places. So what was inert, it has become now a part of this conscious entity. And it is very much alive. Why? Because of prana. So prana means there is sukshma sharira. Sukshma sharira means subtle body, which accounts for the difference between sentient and insentient. So now what we are referring to as the mind, we have only spoken of the functions of the mind. Yeah. So one aspect, when we say the word mind, we think of something solid, tangible, some entity like that. Then when you start inquiring into it, or as the Zen student goes to his master and says, oh, my mind is so disturbed, what shall I do? And the Zen master very rightly says, show me your mind. I can do something about it if you show it to me. Show me your mind. And then Satori happens. So how to show my mind? Because what I am calling my mind is not there as a solid, tangible object. It's vritti, pravaha, flow of thoughts. As you are thinking, your thoughts are changing all the time. That's the nature of the mind. So now, this buddhi, which actually is jadam, it is inert, and it is, when you look at how the subtle body, I'm not going into all these details, Tattva Bodha, I'm assuming a lot of people have that background. So subtle body or sukshma sharira, which includes the 5 pranas, then the capacity for the sense organs, jnanendriyani, and then karmendriyani, okay, capacities, yeah, and buddhi and manas, ahankara included. So this is made up of tanmatra. Tanmatra, the subtle elements, subtle pancha mahabhuta. By itself, buddhi, the mind, is inert. But because of chittihi, consciousness, it functions, the mind functions. And what happens is, because the mind has 2 aspects, the ahankara is very much there. I thought, aham vritti. And aham vritti does not sit on its own. It wants to grab everything. Anything you're associated, body you're associated with, oh, I am the body. Then you're associated with emotions, yes, I am the emotions. So this constant abhimana, it keeps having this sense of identification. Because aham, ahankara, self-concept associated with this limited body-mind, thinks of itself as limited, naturally seeking purnata, completion. Okay? So struggling all the time to do that. So then what about this ahankara we have to see? A very nice shloka. Chhaya hankara yor yaikyam taptaya pindavanmatam tadahankara tadatmyad dehaschetana tamagat. So this cicchāyā that is there, consciousness reflected in the buddhi, in the mind, and the ahankara, the self-concept. Okay, what was mentioned in verse number 6, they are like the pinda, this hot, this taptaha, you know, very, very hot pindavan. So imagine an iron ball. Iron, okay, the metal iron is cold to touch and it looks black. This one looks black, okay. Then what happens? You heat up the iron ball. Then it's a good conductor of heat. The entire iron ball now looks red hot because that fire has pervaded the entire form. Okay? Suppose you say, I want to experience the fire. No, you can't. You can experience some form that is infused with the fire. So this red hot iron ball, you touch, I mean, don't attempt to touch, but if you were to touch any part of it, then the whole thing is red hot. So what has happened is, and here is where you draw the analogy, that just as consciousness pervades the form, is present in and through the entire form, just like fire pervades this cold iron ball, similarly consciousness pervades the dhīs, here mind. Consciousness pervades the ahankara. Ahankara is nothing without consciousness anyway. And it also pervades all the other functions of the mind, like this whole meditation process of decision making. Should I take the vaccine? Should I not take the vaccine? Some people are still, you know, either deciding or they have decided, but now they have to deal with the vaccine shamers. So they are, how, you know, you are the killer of humanity, how could you not take the vaccine, etc., etc. Okay, do you have to deal with the consequences of your decision? Either way. So this likewise, you know, just like the ahankara is pervaded by consciousness, so too this Dvidhā also, Dvidhā is coming little later. Dvidhā is there in verse number 7. Dvidhā chetanata. Dvidhā, the body is also conscious. You pinch the person. I mean, I'm not encouraging you to pinch, but if you were to pinch, then the person is going to wince a little bit. Why? Because the whole body is conscious. So that chetanata, the consciousness of the body pervades, chittihi pervades the entire body. It definitely pervades the mind. Okay. And how? Just like this iron ball that is pervaded by fire. Can you experience fire? Can I experience consciousness on its own? No, you need a medium. You cannot. You are already consciousness. How can you experience it? Still, you need a medium because it's reflected. Then, on its own, can the buddhi, can the mind function, can the body go about doing, you know, whatever it does? No, that's not possible because of consciousness. Without that, not possible. So then what shall we do? You know, ahankarasya tadatmyam cicchāyā deha sakshibhihi sahajam karmajam bhranti janyascha trividham kramat. This is a very nice insight, that this ahankara, it has oneness, it has identification with this reflected, it has identification at 3 levels, okay? And before we look at that, you try to inquire into what or who this ahankara is. So the typical question that you will ask, who am I? And you can keep on asking, you know, who is the questioner? Who is the answerer of that? But this ahankara is very much like an imposter. And to better understand it, during the pre-pandemic days, when the guest list for weddings was not so restricted to 20 and 50, a lot of weddings were all free for all. So this one person has figured that now is the wedding season, at least in India. So November to Jan, Feb, I will make the most of it. Unemployed, so then what does he do? He just has to take care of his whatever clothes he's wearing. You know, he dresses up very well and he strides in very confidently. So he is not known to anyone, neither the bride side nor the groom side, but he walks in very confidently. Generally, some relatives, both from the bride side and the groom side, they will be present at the entrance to welcome all the guests. So, aye, you know, they're saying, please, please come, you know, you're welcome, swagatam, and our fellow walks in. And so he's smiling, everyone is smiling, everyone is very happy. So, aye, namaste, namaste, walks in. Then he is mingling around, and the bride side think that must be somebody from the groom side, you know, who keeps track of who's coming, who's going and all. So everyone was welcomed, this fellow was also welcomed, so they are also being very hospitable. The groom side think, this fellow, he definitely belongs to the bride side. I've never seen him around. I didn't see him in the earlier functions of Mehendi and Haldi and all that. Must be. And our friend, he goes and he has a fantastic dinner, and now he's pretty much on his way out. Then, you know, the bride side, he also has the audacity to go and take leave of the bride side. Okay, I had a wonderful time, congratulations, I wish very well for the wonderful, beautiful bride and groom, wow, so nice. I have never seen such a fantastically coordinated wedding. Oh, I had so much fun. Oh, then you're welcome to the cocktail party also, that's scheduled for tomorrow. Oh, thank you so much, wonderful. Then the bride side quietly says, I hope it's not very rude for me to ask, but I did not see you in the earlier functions. So do you belong to the groom side, some relative, friend and all? So now our friend starts getting very nervous. He says, yes, very nice decor. No, I was just asking you, you belong to that other side? You say, oh, I have to go. He starts to scamper away. Then he's met by the other side. Did I say bride or I said groom? One of the two. The other side also says, oh, so please come again, and you know, it was very nice. So are you from the other side? We will meet again. And he scampers off. Vicharam na sahate. Ahankara is like this. The uninvited guest to the party Does the ahankara belong to the world of matter? No. Sthula sharira. Ahankara belongs to the body entirely? No. Ahankara, does it belong to consciousness, chittihi? No. When you inquire into this I concept, I notion, it seems like it is a combination of both drik as well as drishyam. Correct? It's both, but by itself it is nothing. It's not an independent entity. I notion is aham vritti, not I concept, it is I thought. Okay, it's got nothing to do with apple. So I thought, and this thought, idam vrittihi. So aham vrittihi, I thought, and idam vrittihi, this thought. So that this thought could be the body, or could be I am a Kshatriya, I am proud of being a Kshatriya. Association with a jati, okay, whatever it is, some association, that is ahankara. It just encroaches, grabs anything, everything, and masquerades as the Atma. Why? Because Atma is not known. That what is the nature of aham vritti? From where did this I thought come? But this I thought is self-evident. And svata prakashaha, svata siddha, self-established. It precedes time, it is the basis of all time and space. But then, the way we tend to look at Sakshi, it almost is like, I am the Sakshi, everything else is Sakshyam, and there is a distance between me, the seer, and all that is seen. So there are pockets and pockets of Sakshi. But we have to go back to the definition of chittihi, at least as presented here. So always illumines, which means what? That even the entire mind is an object of experience. I am experiencing the different thoughts in mind, they are an object of awareness. My entire mind is an object of awareness for the limitless consciousness. Which means that consciousness is not sitting in this localized mind body. Okay, try to look at it from the standpoint of space. Will you say there is space in this body, in the cells and all? You will say yes. Maybe there is a lot of space here, but that's fine. Okay, so there is space. So if I say, oh, I am the Sakshi, I am the Sakshi means what? So Chitti, that this body is present in space. Mind is present in space. Space is present in me. That is Sakshi, that is Chittihi. You have to flip. Okay, this is your leap. What is the leap? Not I am sitting here, Sakshi, meditation I am doing. Of course, I make a lot of people do. Okay, so we start with watching our thoughts. We start with seeing that I am other than my roles. There only we are stuck for many years. Okay, so the different problems we are experiencing in the many roles we have. And then we globalize it. I have a problem with my boyfriend and then my whole life is devastated. Hey, hello? What about your relationship with your brother and your sister and your dog and your friend and your colleague. No, all that is fine. Then how you can say life is devastating? Oh, because of this ahankara only, globalization. No, this is global judgment. Okay, so because of one role, all roles are horrible. My life is a mess. Viveka will start right there. Okay, isolate. So problem I'm experiencing with this role, okay, actually it's only pertaining to that role. The rest of my life is actually quite okay, and thank God for that. Then really, am I only this role? If I was only this role, then I will always be the girlfriend for the whole world. No, but that's not the case. So only with pertaining to this person in this time and place. But it is so valuable to me. I define myself with that role, etc., etc. So here we separate, again Viveka required. So the person who is independent of the many roles that I play. I fill up the roles. The role depends on me. I am independent of the role. This must be my living reality. A lot of the times when we come to a Vedanta class, I am either the hurt child or the angry father, and I want a resolution for this problem which Vedanta doesn't seem to provide. And I'm trying to struggle with all of this. And wondering, oh, Vedanta doesn't deliver the goods because I am not present as the Sakshi. Just the one who is independent of all roles. Right now maybe I am the knower, Pramata, okay, that's fine. But I illumine even the Pramata. So this, like how space is present in the room, but we don't say that the room has limited space. Right? We recognize there's space in the room, there's space outside the room, there's space in all the galaxies. Chittihi, consciousness, if understood. We don't say there is consciousness in the body and mind. Because if we were to say that, then we have reduced consciousness, chittihi, to a property of the mind and body. What we are saying is, I am that chittihi. The mind is one of the forms that occurs in me. I am that chittihi, the body is a form, and whatever else happens to that body occurs in me. Space can say that. Space can say there are all these rooms in different parts and apartments and town houses, and there is space in all of them, but in me there is space. There are different forms which seem to as though enclose me. As though. Okay, nothing can enclose space. And chittihi, consciousness, that is I, which is the basis of even akasha, space. That space is in me. All forms are in me. So obviously body, mind, subtle forms, okay, mind is a subtle form that occurs in me. I illumine all the forms. Otherwise, if we don't understand this Drg-Drshya Viveka properly, then we will mistake it to be a way of dissociating from the world. I've had to counsel few people who did lot of Vipassana meditation. Okay, I strongly recommend everyone should do Vipassana at least once in their lifetime. So still that I am separate from everything. Earlier also I felt small and insignificant. Now also after this meditation, I feel other than, different from, separate from everyone else. That's not what Drg-Drshya is about. So, Drigeva natu drishyate. The nature of that Drig, That is chittihi, that ever illumines, that doesn't have a problem with whatever kind of thoughts there are, with whatever kinds of people there are, from the standpoint of being fulfilled. That is Sakshi. That is its very nature. So what shall we do now? Did I chant 8? Yeah, I did. So now this ahankara, remember, is an imposter, okay? And what about this ahankara? It has naturally, it has tadatmyam. Tadatmyam means like an identification, okay? It has an identification with certain things. What are those? Cicchāyā, dhīhā and Sakshi. Okay, so ahankara, this I notion, is very, it's all as though one with cicchāyā. Naturally, because it is a vritti, it's a thought, it's a form, and in that is reflected consciousness. So the word in Sanskrit for reflected consciousness is cicchāyā. Then ahankara is obviously very closely, has tadatmyam, has oneness, identification with the dhīhā, physical body. And ahankara has this tadatmyam, identification even with Sakshi. What is the nature of the identification? With the first one. So ahankara and cicchāyā, it is sahajam, natural. So when did I thought come? It came naturally. You cannot really separate the two. Where there is I thought, there is reflected consciousness, there is cicchāyā. In terms of understanding, you may say, oh, cicchāyā, because the fact that we are saying reflected consciousness means you need a medium for it to reflect. That happens to be that aham vritti, I thought. Sahajam, tadatmyam. Okay, it's very natural. Then, and it's inborn. Both of them go hand in hand. So we cannot separate from it, and we have no problem with it. Then this ahankara, I concept, is also has identification with dhīhā. How? Whose dhīhā? Only first it starts with your dhīhā. Dhīhā, your body. How? Because of karma. So the reason for janma is karma. Whatever punya papa standing in your account, whatever fructified, that is the association. So this identification of the ahankara, I notion, with the dhīhā has come about because of karma. It's born of karma, karmajam. Karmajam tadatmyam. And for how long it will go on? Oh, as long as there is prarabdha. So the karma, that is arabdha, and it has already begun. The arrow has been shot, and until it reaches wherever it's supposed to reach, punya papa will unfold on a daily basis. The body has to go through it, and the body experiences hunger, thirst, pain, happiness, joy, etc., etc. So that oneness or identification, when will it go? It will go only with the death of the body. That's what it is. Okay. And who is identified with the body? It is this ahankara. So that also is there. Then is another identification which is referred to as bhranti-janya. Okay, there is an identification that is born of self-ignorance. So the word is bhranti. it sounds like brandy, and it's the effect is the same. Okay, so Bhranti means error, right? It's a mistake. Bhranti is also referred to as adhyaropa or aviveka or moha or adhyasa. The mistake has been made. What was the mistake made? Oh, I am the Atma, that the body mind are in me. But no, no, no. Body mind are not in me. Whoever I am, all the limitations that happen to be there for the different media, the body and mind, they are mine. And I suffer with that sense of incompleteness. So this is Bhranti Janyam Tadatmyam. That ahankara, because Sakshi's real nature is not understood, and consciousness is as though appropriated from Sakshi. It is me all the way, I be mine. And therefore so there's a problem, because I'm associating with limitations, and I'm striving to be the limitless. I'm trying to break free from limitations while holding on to the limitations. So this movie, Satte Pe Satta, one of these Amitabh Bachchan classics, it shows, there is one very nice scene for whoever has seen it. So he is hurt. He wants to apply band-aid to his forehead, I think. But he's so drunk. He's standing in front of the mirror. And he really mistakes. So he's the real person, okay? The hero in the movie, I don't remember his name now. So he is the hero, he's the main person, the protagonist in the movie, and along with his brothers, he is looking at the mirror, but he's drunk, and he wants to put this band-aid on his forehead where there is a wound. So he confuses the reflection for himself, and he puts that band-aid on the mirror. So this is what we do, okay? So the ahankara is a reflection. It doesn't have any independent existence. And as we have seen, vicharam na sahate, it is an imposter all the way. But we are embellishing and massaging and elevating and doing all kinds of things to feel good, to feel complete, and so on and so forth, without inquiring into what is this ahankara. Because ahankara understood is really the Atma all the way, the limitless, in which the ahankara can have its play. Okay, so it's no problem. So then what shall we do? Now that we understand there are these three types of tadatmyam, identification. Sambandhino sator nasti nivrittis sahajasya tu karmakshayat prabodhacha nivartete kramad ubhe. This sambandha is a relation between two. So what about it? The first tadatmyam we have spoken about, this identification of the ahankara with cicchāyā. So ahankara, which is illumined because of reflected consciousness, that they are almost one. So the relationship is sahajam. There is no need to do anything about it. There is no end to it. There is no nivrittihi to it. It's not a problem at all. So there is no need to terminate it either. Then what about the second one? The tadatmyam, the identification of ahankara with the dvidhā, the body. What shall we do about that? Well, honestly, that also you can't do much about, because if you see that the body, mind, in keeping with the meaning of the words, bahya-karana, antah-karana, it is an instrument for me. I can use it however I want. Vah. So I am the master, right? And then I get my body mind to do whatever I want. Whatever are my pursuits, they are all in service of that. Again, no problem. And if the truth is known, it is an enlightened ahankara, so to speak. So then, for as long as the prarabdha continues, that tadatmyam, that identification of the ahankara with the body, where you recognize the body to have a status of dependent reality, it's a form, and the form will have some function, and you do whatever has to be done with the form, and that's about it. Sharira yatra. Okay, fine. No problem. But the tadatmyam of this bhranti, the error of mistaking the drishyam to be the drik, ahankara. What does ahankara cannot stand on its own? I notion it has to grab and encroach. Okay, so body is mine, it's me, mine, me. Everything else, my disturbance is me, my conflicts are me, my suffering definitely is me. So now, with this kind of identification, what can we do about it? It can end. See, both these identifications, the identification with the deha through karma, it can end with the dawn of knowledge, and this identification of the Sakshi with the ahankara, that can also end. It's the identification of, this. When I'm saying identification of Sakshi with ahankara, what I really mean is the ignorance that is there of the ahankara. I don't know what there is, therefore there is adhyasa. There is avidya, I don't know. Then I project, I mistake the things I am associated with to be me. So my suffering is me, my conflict is me, and all the problems, not only my problems, your problems are also mine. Because what shall we do? We love each other so deeply, so I am always suffering. Okay? Now this suffering can come to an end. How? Prabodha. With prabodhat cha nivartate. The suffering can come to an end. That what was actually drishyam, what was seen, what was experienced, never touched me. Never. Consciousness ever untouched, ever illumining everything. But the ahankara held on to it, grabbed onto it, and encroached this entire territory and said, no, yes, the suffering is mine, the conflict is mine, everything is mine. And so much suffering. But ever illumining, chittihi. So that identification of the ahankara with all these limitations can be dropped. How? In the wake of knowledge. So what is the knowledge? That Sakshi was confused as the ahankara. Right? So when we say I am something, let's say I am a professional jadam, changing, object of awareness, but now identification. Then whatever happens in my professional life is definitely a cause of great suffering for me or cause of great fulfillment for me. Either way, I am swinging, in the pendulum of opposites. Sooner or later, something's going to happen. And I'm not being pessimistic here. So the great resignation is on as we speak, and people are wondering, what shall we do with our lives? Maybe I will work 4 days, maybe I will retire. Do I really need to work? Maybe I will become an entrepreneur. All these ideas we have. So all these thoughts related to I am a professional, ahankara on its own cannot do anything, but ahankara grabs the reality of Atma and then says, but because I'm associated with body mind, oh, I am incomplete, I have to do this, I have to do that, etc., etc., for the sake of completion, for the sake of completeness. And then the struggle can continue from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. The medium can be any medium. You can be an earthworm or an eel or an octopus. You know, I am very clingy. I want to hold on to everything. But I want everything, I will embrace. Oh, Bhagwan might give you octopus birth. Tentacles spread out all over. Whatever be the medium, you know, the identification with the medium that this is all I am. So Sakshi, that ever illumines everything, is confused, is mistaken to be the ahankara because of bhranti. And brandy, if you have brandy, then bhranti is all because of ignorance. And this avidya will go only in the light of knowledge that all forms are illumined by me. So this localization we have to drop, you know. That localization. I am consciousness sitting on this chair. I am the Sakshi, I am sitting. No. I am that in which my body is. That's very important. Can you say that? Can you see that? So because what is it, it's like, you know, space that is enclosed in the room. Suppose the space says, if you ask the room does not exist on its own anyway. You know, this body, ahankara, does not exist. You ask space. Are you enclosed? You feel suffocated, claustrophobic, you know, because of the pandemic. You have been enclosed. No, no problem at all. Why? Because what you are calling this room, it exists in me. This tenement that you call the body and mind, which is tanmatra, subtle elements, okay, subtle pancha mahabhuta, they all exist in me. Space can say, this room and everything else in the room, everything exists in me. Chitihi, consciousness, all forms, including body, mind, and all the, so body, all the saptadhatu, so your bone marrow and then your whatever else, blood and tissues and fat and muscles, all these forms, they exist in consciousness. What about mind and then all your different emotions and thoughts and memories and decisions to be made for the rest of the weekend? Oh, all that also exists in Chitihi, consciousness. Body, mind, your own body, mind, other people's body minds, it exists in you. That is what is Sakshi, Chitti. So everything else is Drishyam. Your own body is Drishyam. It is an object of awareness. You are experiencing your entire body. You may say, no, you know, little bit paining and all that, you may say, okay, one little corner. But really speaking, you are experiencing your entire body. If you were not, why would you go for a massage? You know, entire body, oh wow, very nice. Entire body is conscious. And then you can say, no, this little bit paining. No, here you put little extra pressure. You can say all these things because I, the ahankara, as though seems to have this experience, but really speaking, I, Chittihi, consciousness in which the body is. And this body, this temporary identification I have because of my karma for this lifetime, I go through it because of Sharira Yatra. but there is no problem. So then I am free enough to have a limited body. I am limitless and free enough to have a limited body because the identification, that tadatmyam, has been snapped because it was born of error. So some limitations are there. It's okay. But still the glory, the greatness of the medium is such that we can do wonders with it. You know. So both exist. And about this ahankara, he has a few more things to say in the context of the three states of experience, because that's what we struggle with, you know. So that we will look at tomorrow. Okay. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukh abhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.